Welcome to the Selling Show, where we unpack, repack, and break down exactly how CEOs, founders, and senior executives sell their ideas, point of view, and personal brand to the people who matter most. This is your host, David Newman, and you are in the right place if you want to build market eminence, amplify your influence, and attract high-value prospects, investors, partners, talent, and media opportunities with less chasing and more confidence. Let's go. Content marketing, video marketing, answering questions that people have about your business or your industry. The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Marcus Sheridan is with us. Marcus, welcome to the show.
David, it's great to be here. I think we're going to have an excellent conversation today. I got a good feeling about this one, buddy.
I am not going to disagree. So for the few people on the planet who do not know the Marcus Sheridan story, could you just share a little bit about the professional journey that brought you to the work that you're doing today, and what were some interesting pit stops along the way?
Yeah, here's the very quick version. I started with two buddies, a swimming pool company called River Pools in 2001, and we fought to grow the business, and then we got hit in the face in 2008 and 2009 when we had the crash. Looked like we were going to lose the company. It was during that time that I really just started to learn more about like today's buyer and how the internet was changing the world and content and inbound and all this stuff. And really what I took from that learning was, okay, so essentially what this is all saying is I need to be willing to address every question, worry, issue, concern my buyers have on my website. And if I do that, I might save my business. And so that's exactly what we did. And I brainstormed every single question I'd ever received. We started to address those one by one on our website, through text, through video, on YouTube too. And over the next couple of years, we would become the most trafficked swimming pool website in the world. And it was a really extraordinary journey, and it went so well that we became a manufacturer of fiberglass pools. And then we became the fastest growing manufacturer of fiberglass pools in the world. And then we became the first franchise of fiberglass pool companies. And I sold the manufacturing business, but I still own the original River Pools, which is essentially a franchisee to the company that we started. During this journey, it was going so well that I said to myself, everybody should know about this stuff. And so I started to write about it. And then I started to have companies say, can you teach me how to do that? And then some events said, can you show me how, like, can you share that story from our stage? Which led to a full-time career as a professional speaker and a company called Impact today, which helps organizations do this framework, which in 2017, the book came out. It was called They Ask You Answer. It did really well, did over 100,000 copies. And 2020, a second edition came out. But as you know, the world changed in 2022 with AI. And so I knew I had to start writing a third version. And we changed the name because it's a new era really in sales and marketing. And now it's called Endless Customers.
Yes. So good. And of course, the subtitle is A Proven System to Build Trust, Drive Sales, and Become the Market Leader. I'm going to say something kind of bold and maybe edgy. A lot of people are going to read this book or even listen to our interview, because we're going to dig into it here in a moment. And the 5 overarching strategies that you recommend might scare the living daylights out of some business owners. Like, wait a minute, I got to talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly. I got to reveal some vulnerability. I got to say that we're not perfect. I got to put reviews on my website. I have to be transparent about pricing. And this goes against some of this hard-coded DNA that a lot of entrepreneurs came up with. Before we get into the specific strategies, which are brilliant, how do you overcome that initial resistance about, hey, we got to be fully transparent, fully open book. We have to earn trust by being vulnerable. How do you get that mindset starting to get in the right direction?
Well, if you look at what's happening today, and I'm gonna like gotta look at some root cause stuff, because if we don't see the problem with the world, nobody's going to want to take action to solve it, right?
Okay.
And so what's the problem with the world right now? If we look at it, we got a massive trust deficit in the world today. Buyers, consumers, they don't know who to believe. I mean, we feel like we can't believe politicians. We feel like we can't believe brands. We feel like we can't believe, the commercials we watch on TV. We just are very doubting. And so anytime someone sends us a signal that they're not like that, it's very endearing and we're attracted to it. We're just thirsty. We're hungry for it. So that's a big component of it. Another big component of it is, for 20 some years, David, as you know, as someone that's very advanced with marketing, we had this incredible little tool called Google that changed the world. And you could easily build a business on it. You didn't have to have a strong brand, because if you had enough money, you could throw it at Google Ads and you could generate leads that way. You could do things like SEO, and oftentimes you could pretty easily rank for keywords and you could show up, you could get leads. Life was good. And that was 20-ish years of our existence. And those days are coming to an end, because in November of 2022, ChatGPT, AI comes out. And suddenly, if you fast forward to today, over 50% of all searches on Google don't even end up in a click. They're 0 click. It's because they get the answer immediately. Today, the person that's ranked number 1 in Google is so far buried down the list because there's a big swath of sponsored searches. There's an AI summary. There's related questions. There's probably some videos. I mean, it just goes on and on. So because of that, you're completely buried. You're not coming close to getting the percentage of clicks that you're getting before. Companies everywhere are saying, I'm doing Google Ads and I'm getting less results. I'm spending more. I'm seeing less traffic to my website. I'm concerned. What do I do? Because for 20 years, all we had to do was make 2 parties happy and get recommended by 2 parties. We needed to be recommended by the customer, and we needed to be recommended by the search engine. In this case, we'll call it just Google. And now we've got a third one, and that third one is going to just hit all of us in the teeth, because AI is going to be the ultimate recommendation engine. And everybody is going to slowly shift towards that. And I don't know what slowly even is defined as, but everybody's going to go over that way because it's a better search experience. And so now, if you can't rely on Google Ads, if you can't build your house on Google, because that is a house built on sand, how do you become known? Well, you've got to build a very known and trusted brand. How do you build a known and trusted brand? That's what Endless Customers is all about. And you have to start at that point. If you don't send out signals to the world today, again, to those 3 parties, to humans, to search engines like Google, and to AI, you will not get found. You will not be known, and you're going to have a problem with your business. I don't say that to scare people. I'm just saying it because it's honest, and I believe in being very candid and very honest. And so, how do your signals, and by the way, a signal is anything that you say or anything that somebody says about you online is a signal. And you need to get more signals and better signals than anybody else. And the only way that you're going to get more signals, other than doing extraordinary job with customers through reviews, you're going to get a lot of signals, but your content is going to be the catalyst signal. But there's a lot of content, and a lot of it doesn't resonate. And why? Because it doesn't have much of a soul. It's not addressing what buyers want. It's not very thoughtful. It's not very provocative. And it's not really leaning in to what the marketplace is really wanting to understand. And so if you know this, you're saying to yourself, I need to do whatever it takes to stand out. And I can't stand out by doing sales, by doing marketing the way it's always been done. So that's why we've got in the book 4 pillars of a known and trusted brand. And you described to a degree the first pillar a minute ago, because the first pillar of a known and trusted brand is the willingness to say what others aren't willing to say. And there's 5 subject matters that since the beginning of the internet, certainly beginning of time too, really, since commerce started, but since the internet started, we've been researching 5 things more and more and more. And this isn't going to change, David. So doesn't matter what happens with AI. It doesn't matter what happens with all the, like platforms that we use. What is not going to change is that we are researching these 5 things before we buy something. Here's the 5 things. As buyers and consumers, we want to know, how much is it? We want to know all about cost and price, all of our money related questions. Number 2, we want to understand as a buyer or as a consumer, we want to understand what are the negatives, the problems. There's a lot of fears that people have when they have to buy something, engage someone, spend money on something. And so we'll just call those problems. But if you don't address those fears, somebody will. Number 3 is comparisons. We're obsessed with comparing stuff online. And that is only increasing. Number 4, reviews. We love reviews, but the thing about reviews, we want the good, the bad, and the ugly, not just the good. And number 5, we want to know best, most, top, etc. So cost, problems, comparisons, reviews, best. We call those the big 5. They were in They Ask You Answer, and they continue to be prominent. And that's why they're a major part of endless customers too, because that's not going away. Now, the problem is a lot of companies aren't willing to talk about that stuff. Let me give you an example for attorneys, right? I know you have some attorneys that listen to your podcast.
Yeah.
Classic professional services. I met with a mastermind of 20-ish attorneys, top attorneys, personal injury attorneys, a few weeks ago in Miami. I asked everybody in the room, I said, do you know what the 2 most prominent questions someone has when they have a potential personal injury case are? I kind of got some looks. I said, first question is, what's my case potentially worth? Number 1 question. Second question, what happens if I lose? Now, I said to the room, how many of you have addressed clearly one, if not both of those questions online? Nobody in the room raised their hand. So how is it possible that every single person that's experienced some type of personal injury and is looking at litigation can't find an answer on those 2 things? Because to this day, and professional services are prolific with this problem, David, they don't oftentimes address what the buyers want to know. They're not willing to say what others in their space are not willing to say.
Yeah.
And because of that, they're not standing out. And every single one of those attorneys told me, because PPC ads are big, in the legal space, as you know. I had multiple attorneys in that room say, we're just not getting the same for our Google ad spend that we've gotten in the past. We're spending a lot of money, Marcus. We're not seeing the lead flow. I said, well, it's because you're not as known and trusted of as a brand as you need to be, because you're not talking about the things that you should be talking about.
Hold on. This one is so good, even I'm taking notes. Listen, are you a CEO, founder, or corporate executive ready to fix your market obscurity problem and gain the market eminence you know you and your company deserve? Cool. Book your private Market Eminence Roadmap call with me, and let's see what might be possible for you. The link is simple. doitmarketing.com/call. See you over there. Now, I got to get back to taking more notes. So that bravery step, I just want to, I'll pick one and then we can take this wherever you'd like to go. Cost and price. By the way, on the Impact website, cost and price, easy to find. Pricing, 3 different tiers, right? Small company, medium-sized company, medium to large enterprise. Pricing, very transparent. You say to most consulting firms, you say to most accounting firms, hey, we need to put your pricing on your website, or at least price ranges on your website. All kinds of crazy mayhem ensues. They say, Marcus, that's going to kill our lead flow. Marcus, we can't just talk price unless we talk about value. We need to agitate them. We need to get them convinced. We need to do all of our persuasion monkey work and our persuasion tricks. And then the price will be insignificant compared to the value that they get. And I believe that your philosophy is transparent pricing right on the website, no opt-in needed, no hand raise, be loud and proud and public with your pricing. Talk about why that works in the environment that we're in.
Yeah, let me explain this clearly, because the issue is sometimes people think that I espouse that they should put their exact prices. And to your point, what you said a minute ago, it's what I really espouse is pricing education, helping them get a sense for what they're going to spend. That's usually found within ranges. Yeah. And that's what most people want to know. If I asked anybody that's listening to this, if you went online right now and you were looking for cost and price information, which everybody that's listening to this has done, and you couldn't find it, what would be the emotion you would have? And everybody would say, I just get really frustrated. I'd say, why? Well, because I'm the buyer. And so in that moment of frustration, do you just sit there and stay on the website and keep looking? Well, no, that's ridiculous. Do you call the company and say, it's okay, they're not talking about cost and price, they're a value-based business? No. You keep searching and you search until you find what you were looking for. And oftentimes, that's the company that's going to get your business. Now, the real reason we get so upset is because we know as the consumer, as the buyer, that they know as the business the answer, or at least a semblance of the answer. And because we know they know the answer and they're not giving it to us, David, we feel like they're hiding something from us.
Yes.
And the moment we feel like anybody's hiding anything from us online, trust is gone. And that's the business we're all in. That's not going to change. So why do we not do this? So there's three fundamental reasons why companies say that we can't talk about cost and price. Number one, for professional services, it's, well, every job is different and it depends. So this is the most simple to explain and most important, because this is where you define value. Now, in Endless Customers, the book, I've got a chapter on the perfect pricing page. And people are going to love that because it gives you essentially a checklist of what the perfect pricing page should look like. There's more than 10 points to this checklist. I'm going to share the big five, though. Like, there's five major ones to it.
Yeah.
First one is, what drives cost up for your service, like in the industry? Secondly, what drives or keeps costs down for this particular service? We're just talking industry-wide. Number three, why are some companies so expensive? Number four, why are some companies so cheap? All right. And then finally, number five, roughly, where do you fall? Now, there's different levels of discussing pricing. Level 0, I don't even give it a 1 because it doesn't deserve any credit. Level 0 is you have like a pricing tab on your navigation bar to your website. They click on it, and then there's a form, and there's nothing about pricing. And they're pissed, and they say, I hate you forever. All right, so that's level 0.
Yeah.
Level 1, you have a pricing page. And most services don't have this, but this is really where you explain those 5 things. This should be at least 1,000 words, David. And really, you should have a great pricing page for every major service you offer, okay? So if you have clearly like 6 different service offerings, you should do it for like 6 different pricing pages for that. Now, you might have one pricing page that feeds all 6 separately to make it clean, but that's level 1. Level 2 would be you have level 1 plus a really thorough pricing video that essentially does the same thing, but now it shows it more clearly. Instead of just telling, it shows it.
Yeah.
So that's level 2. Level 3 would be you have a pricing estimator on your website. And we can talk about those in a minute. Pricing estimators are the future of service-based businesses. And I know this because I have a company that makes them. And so this is like, I've got a ton of data on this, just like I have a ton of data on pricing. For over 15 years, I've been helping companies now, 14 years, helping companies talk about cost and price. And I can tell you that still to this day, generally speaking, the number one traffic, lead, and sales generating content has to do with cost and price. And so what we're not saying is that you have to put your exact prices. What we are saying is you sure as heck better educate them on what value looks like. And you better help them understand a sense for pricing. Otherwise, they're just going to get annoyed. They're not going to like you. And they're certainly not going to give you their trust. You're not going to earn the lead. And that's just a dangerous place to be. And if you're just going to, say this is not how it works in the industry, I'm so sorry. You're just going to get left behind. The other reasons, real quickly, David, why people don't talk about cost and price, they say stupid things like, well, we're more expensive. And if we're more expensive and they see we're more expensive, well, then we just might scare them away. The thing that actually scares us away during the buyer's journey when we're researching isn't when somebody's more expensive. It's when they aren't willing to talk about the thing at all. So what's more scary to you? When you look at a menu and you see market price, or you look at a menu and you see a price?
Yeah.
See, it's like boom. There's just no question which one is more like concerning. Market price. This is why most people don't even ask how much is it, because they don't want to be embarrassed to say I'll pass, so they don't even ask. See what I'm saying? Third reason why we don't like to talk about cost and price oftentimes is because we say our competitors will find out, which is really, really silly, because anybody that's been in the game of business for any period of time has a decent sense as to what the rest of the market is charging. So there's no secrets here, right? And besides that, when was the last time your competitors paid your bills? So if you look at this, like logically, there's no logical argument that somebody can make that says, well, no, because the golden rule is I should treat others as I would want to be treated. Every single person listening to this says, I would prefer it if they would help me get a sense for pricing and general price ranges and factors. Every single person would agree to that, David. Yet the majority listening to this do not eat their own dog food. And I don't think that that is the way that we should be doing business.
I want to talk about the next section, which is equally compelling, around show what others aren't willing to show. And this is kind of a deep dive into sales and marketing video strategy. Marcus, am I right that in between books 1 and 3, you actually have a whole separate video book that came out also?
Yeah, it's called The Visual
So the best of that is in here in Endless Customers. Talk to us about how we can show through the power of video some compelling marketing and sales assets.
The trend line in video is extraordinary. It's all headed in that direction. There's a strong argument, and this will probably make some people snicker. I believe it could very well happen. Within 5 years, there's a strong argument that your YouTube channel will be more valuable to you than your website. And if you look at all the trend lines, we're just aggressively going in this direction. And YouTube, by the way, is not nearly as affected by AI in AI search as is traditional websites.
Yeah.
That's another reason for this. You have to start thinking like a media company. And how does a media company think? They say, everything we do, we can and we should show. Everything. Now, what's unfortunate about a lot of folks that are in professional services, they say, well, how do I show, like, I'm an accountant. How do I show that? Like, how do I show this? How do I show that? It's like, you're missing it because you're seeing people explode on YouTube by talking about openly and showing themselves openly how they do what they do, answering the questions that their clients typically have, maybe showing their methodologies and how they, how they do that thing. Let me give you an example. Well, let's say you had an accounting firm and you're like, what could I show that nobody else is showing? Simple example here would be, so let's say I work with your accounting firm. One of the things that a lot of accounting firms don't do very well is they don't help me understand how many professionals within that firm will touch my account. So there's lots of different specialists that they have. And so there might be 8 different specialists. So what if they created a video that essentially described the journey of my tax returns and who it went through and why it went through that person? When I saw the end of that and all the people that had to touch that tax return, my appreciation for that company, extremely different now, isn't it, David? Whereas if you just give me my return and I don't know the storyline behind that return, well, I just know, geez, here's another few $1,000. Like, there it goes. But I don't understand. And so there's so much in showing the thing. We became a manufacturer at River Pools, and I was the first manufacturer in the world to show explicitly how we build our pools. 8 videos, the average length of 10 minutes each. So 80 total minutes. Like, if you wanted to start a fiberglass pool manufacturing company tomorrow, David, you would want to go watch that series because we show it all, dude. We show it all. And I had manufacturers reaching out saying, why are you showing this? It's like this is proprietary. I'm like, are you silly? Do you really believe this is proprietary?
Yeah.
Like, spraying glass on a mold is proprietary. Come on, give me a break. Yeah. People want to see the sandwich made in front of them. Maybe not the sausage, but they want to see the sandwich made in front of them.
Yeah.
And so that is the thing that you have to understand about where we're headed. You need to become very, very aggressive with video. Most people are not. And when I say aggressive, if you're not producing and publishing at least 2 videos a week to your community and online across multiple channels, you're probably not doing it even close to the pace that you should be.
Yes. There's a woman who is a CPA. You probably know about her because I think she has a big YouTube following. She takes all these ridiculous claims that internet marketers make about what kinds of things are tax deductible. So you'll see one of these bro marketers online. Hey, I just bought my Rolls Royce for like $380,000, fully tax deductible. And she stops the video And she then explains, actually, that's not correct, because unless that vehicle is being used in this way with this percentage of time, this kind of bandwidth, you can maybe write off a percentage of that Rolls Royce, but there is absolutely no way that you are saving $380,000 on your taxes. Tune in next time for another accounting mythbuster or whatever it is. This woman, it's accounting information. She has an enormous following because she is showing what others are not willing to show.
That's such a great analogy. And the sad thing, David, is many people say, well, that's her. It's just not me. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
And sorry, the minute you signed up to be a business owner, you lost the right to say, that's not who I am. Because you signed up for, I'm going to meet the market where the market is. And the market is saying, I want to see it. And I just don't want to read it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
In fact, I want to see it, and I want to see your face too. So, these are the things that people have to understand. Nobody's ever gone to anyone's, if anybody's listening to this right now, nobody's ever gone to your website, said, I would really like to see a video on this right now, but it's not here. But that's okay, because video is just not their thing.
Wait. We're not just going to listen to this episode. There are downloads, there are resources, there are links, there are bonuses waiting for you on this episode's page when you go over to doitmarketing.com/podcast. That's right, doitmarketing.com/podcast. Grab the notes right under this episode. See you over there. Well, so let's do a little detour on this, because you work with a lot of CEOs and founders and company presidents. They might not have signed up to be the face and the voice of their business. They signed up to be the boss of their business and the visionary of their business. But now it's like, hey, boss, you got to be on camera. You got to maybe even speak at the local chamber. You got to raise your visibility and the voice and the presence of your CEO founder profile. I'm a huge believer in this. I mean, our whole thing is market eminence and how to be the face and the voice of your brand. When you hit a CEO or a founder who's resistant to that, Marcus, hey, can't my marketing team do that? Can't we send the interns out to do that? Is there a reasonable substitute for the founder or the CEO not doing it?
Yeah, this goes to the fourth pillar, which is be more human than others are willing to be in your space. People want to see a face behind the brand. Now, does it have to be the primary leader? No, it doesn't have to be, but it certainly does make a difference. And it's quite a positive. Now, if you can have multiple faces behind the brand, even better for that, right? It's no different than you see some companies that don't really like it when their employees are on LinkedIn. It's like, are you serious right now? But yeah, because they're like, I don't want them to be poached. So I don't want them posting on LinkedIn. Like, if newsflash, if they want to leave you, they're going to leave you with or without LinkedIn.
That's right.
And maybe if you help them build their brand, they're going to become more loyal and more aligned to your organization, right? And so I do think there should be at least one face behind every brand. Yeah. And the thing about someone that's not a proprietor of the business, they might not always be there. Yeah. Whereas the proprietor generally stays. Now, somebody might say, well, I don't want the business to be built around me and then I leave and then it's not sellable, scalable. But, we've seen so many examples where, I could just go down a huge, massive list of people that became the face of a brand, but they were still able to very successfully exit said brand.
Absolutely.
If it's turning a profit, trust me, they're going to want in on that action. And, I'm living this every day. When it comes to professional services, one of the best books that you can read on this, which was way ahead of its time. In fact, it was almost too ahead of its time, was Daniel Priestley's Key Person of Influence book.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of Dan. We've become friends over the last year. And it's like, when you are a key person of influence, a known brand, it creates just incredible opportunities. A lot of people don't know that I currently own 7 different companies. The reason for this is because I have a brand. It's not massive, but I have a brand that allows me to quickly grow businesses because of my scope within the, like my business ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so like I'm living that life of key person of influence. And not everybody knows the names of my companies, but those people know me. Just like, if I polls your audience right now and I said, do you know who Kylie Jenner is? Everybody would say, for the most part, everybody say yes. And if I said, do you know the name of her makeup line? More than 50% would not know. And that's the power of brand. There's a reason why KFC still is showing Colonel Sanders on their stinking restaurants, 50 years after he died. I mean, there's a reason for this, folks, because we trust people much more than we trust brands.
Huge point. Amen times 1,000. Let's jump back into pillar number 3, which is also fascinating. Sell how others aren't willing to sell. And what I really love in here, Marcus, is your notion of assignment selling. But tell us about sell how others aren't willing to sell.
Yeah, there's a lot of different examples. Assignment selling just comes from back in the day with my pool company. I discovered that if somebody read 30 or more pages of our website before the first appointment, they would buy 80% of the time. But if they didn't hit that number, closing rates were way lower, like 25%. And so we sold in such a way that every home we went into, they had hit that magic number, and it just made selling so much easier. The other major section of the book that everybody really needs to lean into with endless customers is a brand new section that wasn't in They Ask You Answer, is all about self-service. There's a stat from Gartner that says 75% of all buyers say they would prefer to have a seller-free sales experience. Now, what does this mean? It doesn't mean that we hate salespeople. It just means that we don't want to talk to them until we're good and ready. We want to be comfortable. We want to be confident. We want to feel like we're not going to make a mistake. And so that is the future. And so there's 5 different types of self-service tools that we talk about in the book. And I'm going to tell you one of them. And let me tell you 2 of them, David, that I think, and they all resonate, and they all could work for any professional services company. Mm-hmm. But the first one are self-scheduling tools. Now, a self-scheduling tool is traditionally, if someone wants to have a meeting, let's say with a sales rep or with somebody in your company, they have to talk to a human and set it up. A self-scheduling tool just allows them to do that without talking to someone first. Now, that in and of itself isn't special, but here's where it gets special. We've done a lot of experiments where someone does a self-scheduling tool where they're able to choose who they work with. So I want you to imagine this for a second, David. Let's say that you want to sell your home and you have heard good things about this local real estate firm. So you go to their website and you see that they've got 8 realtors. And with each realtor, you can see their image, you can read their bio, you can watch a video that introduces the realtor to you, and then you can choose who you want to work with, sync up with their calendar, and set up the call. Yeah. Now, that's an extraordinary UX, right? What we have found is when you offer this type of UX, you will see a doubling in terms of closing rates. And why? Sunk cost fallacy. Because that person now has invested in a choice. Yeah. And as soon as that happens, they're looking for reasons to work for or with you. So that is self-scheduling. Another tool, very powerful, is the self-pricing tool. And self-pricing is when you allow someone to get an estimate of roughly what is this going to cost me. Now, I mentioned to you before, I started a software company last year called Price Guide. And Price Guide allows anyone, especially service-based businesses, it works for home services, but it works for all different types of services. I've had lots of different folks do it. Allows them to quickly and easily, with the help of AI, create a pricing estimator, keyword estimator, that they can put on their homepage. And when they do it, here's what happens, and I see it over and over again. Generally, you see a 300% increase in leads, David. Like the second you put it on, 300% increase. So imagine you're getting 5 leads a week from your website. If you put a pricing estimator, you're going to start to see 15 leads. So that's incredible. And it's all because the first question that somebody has when they enter the buyer's journey, literally the first question, once they know they have a need, once they know they need to hire a firm or they need to do this or buy this product or service, first question, roughly, what's this going to set me back? What are we looking at here? How much is this going to cost? As soon as they get that alleviated, that concern, now they can move forward. And so the first question, the last question of the buyer's journey are essentially the same. First question, roughly, how much is it going to cost? Last question, exactly, how much is this going to cost? Right? Yeah. Do you see what I'm saying? And so if you do this, you generate way, way, way more leads. I think it's going to be table stakes for most service-based businesses in the future.
So critically important. Let's talk about endless customers. Let's talk about some of the amazing bonuses that you've put together, which I just saw, which are really, really impressive. Give us the whole lay of the land as far as the new book, where we get a copy, what the bonuses are, and anything else.
Yeah. So endless customers, you can get it now at endlesscustomers.com. You can get it at Amazon. If you go to endlesscustomers.com and order it, you do get some bonuses, and we're doing some cool things like I'm doing a Q&A, live Q&A with folks. And I mean, we've got this incredible Endless Customers course that's free. It's like a masterclass. That thing is bad to the bone. I should know because it took me 4 hours to do of straight talking, right? But it's very, very helpful. And if you're a visual learner, if you just want to listen to it in your car, you're just going to be so inundated with ideas by reading Endless Customers. I hope you'll order it. I really do. More than anything, I hope you read it and then execute, because it's going to change your life. It's going to change your business. I've just watched so much of this over the years. I was at an event the other day, David. Somebody came up to me and said, Marcus, I heard you 7 years ago. You made us millionaires as a husband and a wife. And I've heard that many times. It was so beautiful. He was but he stopped me again. I was like, oh, that's wonderful. He's like, no, Marcus, I want you to know, you really made us millionaires, man. Thank you. And I was like, wow, thank you. And, that's the power of this system. So again, I hope everyone checks it out and connects with me on LinkedIn as well, because I'm a pretty dang good follow over there, but it's endlesscustomers.com.
Amazing. And by the way, I did dive into the course a little bit. I got to tell you, just between you and me, I mean, no one's listening because, no one's listening to the end. You could have charged $1,000. Could have charged $1,000 for that course, and it would be well worth it.
I appreciate it.
So all of the links to endlesscustomers.com, the bonus page, all of that good stuff is going to be directly under this episode at thesellingshow.com. Marcus Sheridan, you continue to be an amazing rock star and a beacon for the professional services industry. I appreciate you so much.
You too. Thank you.
And that wraps up another episode of The Selling Show. Hey, tell you what, if you like us, rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, tell a friend, go grab the notes and downloads and extras at thesellingshow.com. See you next time.